Can you get race fit if you're over 40? Yes, you can, but there's a few things that you need to know first. So a few things to look out for once you start to get past the age of 40 and get a little bit older. First thing you want to know is that your level of testosterone in your body is going to start to decrease. So you're going to find it harder to maintain muscle mass, maintain strength, and that needs to be accounted for. So if you look at someone's body from when they're 30 to when they're 90 years old, you'll notice that it atrophies and it starts to drop off. So that's a gradual process. And so it's probably at its strongest, at its fittest, when it's in it somewhere along the 20s, I would say. If you look at a lot of sports that rely a lot on athleticism and rely on the athlete, like let's say running, then you're going to notice that people that are in their peak are going to be somewhere in their 20s, maybe early 30s, but usually somewhere along the age of 20, because that's when those hormones are going to be at their peak and at their highest, and their body's going to be at its absolute best. The second thing that you want to know is that your metabolism is also going to decrease. So I think it's from the age of either 30 or 35, your metabolism will start to drop off gradually. It's only small amounts, it could be like 1% every year that it drops off. So what that means is your body's not burning as many calories, is burning as much energy as what it was when it was younger. So that's why generally it's a bit harder to be able to lose weight and easier to gain weight as you get older, because our eating habits stay the same. We eat the same stuff, the same volume of food, but our body's not burning it off as quickly because our metabolism's slowed up a bit. The third thing is, as you get older, you tend to accumulate injuries throughout your life, whether that's through riding and racing or through work accidents or through just random stuff. You'll have different injuries or aches and niggles that you've collected throughout the years. And so when you're training, that can make things difficult. So like if you know that you've got problems with your knees, then probably going running at 40 plus years old is not going to be too comfortable for you compared to someone who's 15 years old taking up running. So you've just got to be a little bit more mindful of injuries and managing them, because you don't want to set them off, make them worse, because it's going to affect obviously other areas of your life. Next thing is you're going to have slower recovery time. So you might find that when you were younger, you might not have had to have done much training, or you might be able to get on the bike or go and do some sport, and you can ride all day and do no training and feel great on the bike and rock up the next day and go and ride again, and get hammered the night overnight and still be able to wake up well the next morning and be ready to rock and roll. When you get older, it doesn't happen like that. You might go riding on the weekend and then you feel like you've written yourself off for the next week because you're that sore and stiff and rigid, and that's without having the beers. So your recovery time starts to slow up. So how do we combat each of these? So testosterone decrease. So there's a few ways that you can increase your testosterone, but the easiest way to be able to do it, especially as you get older, is weight training. So weight training promotes testosterone. So anytime we can do weight training or strength training that's going to challenge our muscles, we're going to help to slow that drop off of testosterone as we get older. So instead of it dropping off, say like that, we're going to get it to drop off like that. So much more gradual decrease. And so what that means is we can get stronger, we can get fitter, we can enjoy all the things that we like doing in life for a lot longer. But more importantly, you can enjoy your riding. So I find with a lot of riders that as they get older, they start to steer away from weight training. They start to go more low impact, more cardio. And that's not necessarily one of the best things you can do, because as I said, testosterone is dropping off and your strength's dropping off, your muscle mass is dropping off. And so when you're riding a bike, you've got a 100 kilo plus bike, plus you've got your body weight on top of that. So if you weigh 90 kilos, that's a total of 190 kilos that you need to wrestle around. There's no amount of walking or swimming or running with a dog that you can do that's going to make that 190 kilos feel lighter. So if you want to reduce injuries while you're out there riding, and you want to be safe, and you also want to enjoy your riding more, then you need to be doing some form of strength training off the bike to get your body stronger, produce more testosterone, build a little bit more muscle mass, stop that atrophy and that drop off as you get older, so you can enjoy riding for longer periods of time. The other thing that it also gives you is the ability to bounce back a little bit better if you do come off. If you're just doing a whole heap of cardio stuff, then every time you come off, even just go around a corner. The worst accidents I find for older riders are when they don't even come off, when they get hurt and they haven't even come off. They've gone around a rut and they've just put their foot out the wrong way, or they've tweaked their shoulder and they didn't even come off. You haven't even got anything to explain the actual injury. They're the worst ones. So that's what strength training is going to help to prevent, is all of those little things that happen when that would normally cause you to like tweak a muscle, hurt an elbow, hurt a knee, hurt a shoulder. It's going to help to prevent a lot of those injuries. Metabolism decrease. So there's a few things you can do to speed up your metabolism. And the main thing that you can do that is to burn off more calories and energy through training. So it's doing strength training, doing some weight training, doing cardio work, doing some interval training at the gym. It's making sure that you're doing some form of exercise off the bike, and specifically made up of the cardio and the strength. That's going to help to crank your metabolism up, which means it's easier to keep yourself at a lower body weight, a lower level of body fat, keep yourself fitter and healthier for a longer period of time, and obviously enjoy your riding and racing more. Previous injuries. So with the riders that we work with that are over 40, they do the same exercises that our younger guys do, that might be 15, 20, 25 or 30. The difference is there's a few different things there. Is number one, they might use different loads. So they might be use loads that are lighter based on their level of strength. The other thing is some of the exercises they might not be able to do. So some riders might have an issue with their knee. So squats might be out. So we need to substitute that with something else. So they might be doing lunges, or we might get them doing more deadlifts, or we do something else that's not going to flare up their knee. If a rider has issues with their shoulder, got bursitis in their shoulder, then maybe overhead pressing is not the best option for them. So we get them doing different exercises, like maybe bent over rows are okay, or maybe bench press is okay instead of overhead pressing. So I find sometimes older riders get into a mindset of looking at their training going, oh, I can't do that because I've got A, B, and C injury. You can do heaps of stuff. There's a million different exercises out there that you can do. You've just got to know which ones to do and how to work around the injuries. It's not about writing off training altogether and writing off exercising altogether. It's about finding the right exercises specific for you that you can actually do and make progress with. Another thing that I find with riders is they might have, like, say, sore knees, for example, and they haven't done any exercise because they've had sore knees, and they finally get to the point where they want to exercise again, but then they start going and doing running and they get sore knees again, and a couple of months later or a few weeks later, they're like, oh, like I got sore knees again, and then all those memories from before start flooding back to them about how painful it was and why this is not a good idea, and they go back to doing nothing. It's not about pushing through pain. It's not about doing things that your body is not able to do. It's about using exercises, movements, types of training that you can do, that you can make progress with without having to push through pain. And when you can do that, you're going to enjoy your training more because it's not painful, so you're going to stick with it. And you're also going to see more progress out on the bike because you're sticking with it and you're not trying to manage pain. Like, let's be honest, if you've got sore knees and you're running, you're probably not running very fast, right? Because you're trying to run to not feel pain rather than running to run and actually get the benefits out of it. And then the last thing is slower recovery time. So recovery time, like, there's heaps of different things you can do for recovery, but the main thing that we look at with our riders is, like, what's the minimal amount of training we can do to get the best result out on the bike? And that doesn't mean doing more training. So I find for a lot of riders, especially as they get older, they think they have to be doing all of this training. They think they have to be doing a whole heap of cardio and a whole heap of running and gym training and this and that, and they just flog the shit out of themselves. And the sad thing is most of the stuff they're doing is not even the right stuff to help them on the bike. So they're flogging themselves, they're pushing themselves through pain, they're not recovering well, they're feeling worse rather than feeling better, but they're not even doing the right stuff to help them on the bike. So one of the things that we do with our riders is we get them doing less training. They only do 3 training sessions a week that last for 45 minutes. And the great thing about that is they can do that and still feel fresh and feel great for their ride on the weekend and not have to walk around all week feeling like they've just joined the army. So to get a quicker recovery time, it's not about recovery. It's about what's the stress you're putting on your body to help it recover better. If we're doing 3 training sessions a week instead of 6, of course you're going to recover better because you've got more recovery time there to rest. The only thing that's important, or the thing that is important, is for those 3 sessions, you've got to make sure you're doing the highest, most valuable exercises and types of training to help you on the bike. If you're just doing 3 45-minute runs a week, it's not going to be the most helpful to help you on the bike. So the way that we break it down for our riders is we'll do the 45-minute sessions. They do half strength and then half cardio and conditioning. So we've got a mix of strength and cardio and conditioning in the same sessions for all 3 sessions. And again, they've got there's 7 days in a week, 3 in the gym training or doing training, you've got 4 off. If you go one day riding, you've got 3 days there where your body can just rest and recover. And we get great results with that, not because of the volume of training. It's not about just flogging and flogging and flogging, giving them a whole heap of stuff to do, because their body's not going to respond to that. We might be able to do that with a 20-year-old. We don't, but we might be able to do that with a 20-year-old, and they're going to bounce back and be able to recover. As you get older, because you've got less testosterone, your metabolism's slowing down, and you've got previous injuries, you're not going to bounce back from that. You're going to go, why am I doing this? I feel like I've just joined up to the army, which is not the intention unless you are trying to join the army. The goal is to be able to help you on the bike. So it's making sure that you're giving your body the right amount of training for your age and for your injuries so that you can make progress without being in pain all the time.